Hi, everyone. It is Meredith with Soul Navigation, and today we're going to talk all about the 11th house. This is one of the most exciting houses ever. And I've got Connie Jo in the house to talk about the 11th house with me, and we are going to continue our series on the houses. Hi, Connie Jo.
Hi, Mare. I can't wait to do this. The 11th house is amazing.
The 11th house has so many good things in it. It can go sideways a little bit, but mostly I think it's really, really a good house.
Oh, so do I. I mean, this is our house of friendships, and it's our house of social ties and the groups that we enjoy being with. But it's also technology and our social media and all of that fun stuff. But you know, my favorite saying, Meredith, it's the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams.
I love that. And one thing I need to say as a caveat is there are traditional meanings to the 11th house, and then there are different meanings in Vedic astrology. And I do modern astrology, so does Connie Jo. This is sort of an evolutionary astrology modern take on the 11th house. And we should say that up front because, you know, in traditional astrology, they didn't have technology.
Exactly. So yes, but networking is a big deal now for the 11th house. But you know what, Meredith? It also rules stepchildren. I think that's so interesting.
I do too. And I sometimes think of this as, you know, and we'll do the 10th house next, so stay tuned. But I also think that this is the house of sort of what you're going to do with your fame. So when you become Lady Gaga and you're a great singer-songwriter, what are you actually going to put into the world with that fame? You know, the social justice aspect, the humanitarian side to this house is huge.
Oh, I so agree. I mean, it's how all the houses build upon one another, you know, how your social not your social standing, but yes, in the 10th house, and how you use that in the 11th house to reach your ambitions, to reach your goals, but not only that, to feed humanity what you've learned in that 10th house. So I love how they all fit together.
Connie Jo, I love that. I also kind of have come to understand that this house is also where you might break the rules a little bit, where you'll innovate. I think of this as the creativity innovation access, you know, where the 5th house, which is the opposite house to the 11th, is massive self-expression and creativity. And then this house holds like the higher octave of the mind, the Uranian house of innovation and willing to be really unique and sort of step out of your comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely. It is the rebellious house. I mean, it's ruled by Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus and Saturn in ancient times. And I think it still applies sometimes, but it is the house where we can, you know, we can be unique in a crowd.
Yes.
We can be unique in our friendships. It's like we can have a whole association of people that we agree about something with, you know, like we all agree we love animals, that we want to be work for the Humane Society. We want to save animals, but we're still unique and bring something unique to the table with the 11th house.
Absolutely. And I love what my friend Henry Seltzer said. He said, this is the house that shows you how you're going to pay it forward. You know,
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all 12 signs on the cusp of your 11th house. And if you're working in whole signs, that's really easy because it's just one sign. But if you're working in a house system like I do, and if you get your gorgeous natal chart, you might have 2 signs in this house. But the sign that is on the cusp of the 11th house is the sign that rules this house. But I would still want you to listen to both signs. And even if you have no planets in the house, it's still absolutely critical. Every single person has an 11th house. Whatever sign you have on the cusp of the 11th house, that sign has a planetary ruler. And you want to think about where that ruler is and what that planetary ruler is doing in your chart. Is it making a conjunction? Is it making a square? Is it square to the ascendant? Is it in a high functioning place? And what is the meaning of that planetary ruler?
It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's really not, because it's like this big astrological puzzle that you can put together to understand how to make your 11th house work for you. Because since it is the house of dreams and our ambitions and wishes, we want to make this house work for us.
Yeah, Exactly. I want to add something to that. I mean, we are just so good together. Okay. So you make me think, I make you think. And we could talk just about what the 11th house is for 2 hours without even going through all 12 signs, but we are going to go through all 12 signs. I don't want you to be discouraged if you don't have any planets in that house, because you have a ruler to that house. So that's that first thing. This is also the house of your future plans. This is not the house of the nostalgic past, like the fourth house. This is your future plan, your future idea, your network, how doors are going to open for you. This is also your relationship to the evolution of humanity. So how are you going to approach, how are you going to contribute, or is it even going to become important to you to contribute to the evolution of society or humanity? And sometimes that requires innovative thinking, because this is futuristic. This is things that we don't know. This is like the iPhone before the iPhone was an iPhone. You know, this is like thinking about the iPhone when we were working on the dial-up.
Yeah, it's so innovative because it's like coming up with things way before their time. This is where I think people really learn to think out of the box. And when someone joins you in that group effort or in friendship, it's easy to come up with these beautiful, innovative ideas. But Meredith, don't you agree that that can go south sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that at the very end. So if you're having a hard transit to the 11th house, this is when all those subjects can suffer. This is when, and we'll go into that. So stay tuned for that, because you're going to want to know when you have transits and hard transits to the 11th house, you can sometimes just feel like your whole world is crumbling. This is a really big house. I want you to think about this as a house that's sort of your audience. So if you're on stage with a microphone, this is the house that shows you who's listening to you, who's your audience. And I think of like the third house as your website. And then I think of the 11th house as who your website is reaching. So even who is this video reaching is the 11th house.
It's like it could go so far out. I mean, if we really got into it, Meredith, the 11th house probably rules aliens, people from other planets. And I know I'm stretching that a little, but really this is a huge, I don't think people realize how big this house is.
Exactly. And I love that you said it rules aliens, but it also really rules the workshops you attend, the organizations you join, the group of friends that you network with. And this is your soul tribe. And having a great soul tribe is so fulfilling. And so you have to look at the sign on the cusp of the 11th house to see how you even approach a soul tribe. This is the astrology conference too, the astrology workshop. This also rules astrology. And here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about Aries.
Aries is ruled by Mars. So think about where Mars is in your chart. But if you have Aries on that 11th house cusp, first of all, you may be a leader in your group, in your association. Aries is a leader. They are the first. So, but they can also be very impulsive about the things that they do as they lead. So watch out for that impulsiveness. They make friends easily. They really do. But they may go from friend to friend very quickly. Aries moves quickly. They don't wait around for things so much because they're ruled by Mars. So they like to lead. They come up with good ideas, innovative ideas about different ways to do things. It's a good placement for a leadership role in an organization because they will fight for a cause. And Aries is the warrior. They will fight for the cause that they believe in. Don't you think?
I love that. I think there's a huge drive here too. There's a drive to win. I think of this as sort of the Ted Lasso placement. If anybody's watching that show where it's the soccer club, and they can come together. Aries is very interesting because they are so independent and individuated from the rest, like me first, that this sometimes can be a hard placement because Aries doesn't really do that well working in collaboration with others. But I also kind of could see this as being the Marine Corps, where if the brotherhood is tight and if they, like the soccer club, if everybody is an elite athlete and you're good at the goalie and you're a good forward and you're a good whatever it is, I don't know the soccer positions, but they can get on board with it if they've got people at their level. But sometimes Aries does feel like nobody pulls their weight. And that's where it can
Yeah.
kind of be tough.
They're very competitive.
Yeah.
So I think the trick is, if you have Aries here, to try to join in, and you can take that lead role, but try to take out some of the competitive energy if you're working for the same goal.
Exactly. And also, you really do need to understand your Mars placement in order to understand your approach to friendships. You're probably going to struggle a little bit with being vulnerable inside your friendships because Aries doesn't like to be vulnerable. Also, this probably means it's not perfect because we work with Placidus, but you're probably a Gemini rising. So you're super sociable and likable. But I don't think Aries in the 11th house wants to be a dependent. They want to lead, and be in charge, be a top dog, be alpha, be first, or they kind of don't want to play.
And they can be a little aggressive, I think, in their friendships.
Oh, they're the ones that tell you your butt looks big in those jeans.
Exactly. They're very honest. I will say that. There is an honesty to Aries in the 11th. They're going to be honest with you no matter what, even if it's not what you want to hear.
And let's talk about the stepchildren. I think these people can inherit stepchildren that are a little bit combative, unruly. So if you do have Aries in the 11th and you have stepchildren, at first, it could be hard to meld with them. They might not like you. They might be loud. They might be intimidating. They might even be a little bit of a bully. They might try to kind of cut you out. I mean, it can be tough. It can also be, if you're a fire sign step parent, you might find these kids really refreshing and just easy to get along with because you know exactly where they stand.
Exactly.
They're really opinionated about their beliefs in society and how they want to go forward.
But I think they're the first sign that will stand up and fight for the underdog, or someone that they feel like is not being treated fairly. An Aries will stand up and fight that battle in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And they like friends who will do that with them. Like this, I think Aries in the 11th is like comrades.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Taurus in the 11th. So this oftentimes is a Cancer rising. So think about Cancer rising and then think about Taurus in the 11th house of friends, groups, organizations, social causes. This is somebody who's very probably reserved in their approach to making friends. They might have a few good friends that are very loyal. You have to realize that Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so they're going to probably develop friendships or be a part of social causes that are all things earth, building, making money, art, beauty, women, advancing society through the beautification project or the building project. Or maybe they don't necessarily march boots on the ground, but they give their money to a social cause. But I think they're very steady and like a steady friend that you could really count on if you're in their inner circle. But I think they're really selective and cautious. I also think they don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. You know, they want to be able to deliver on their promises. I think they're the good money manager of the group. Like they might be the treasurer. What?
Yeah, they may be the fundraiser for the group.
Exactly.
You know, because they're good at it.
I also think they're not necessarily the loud change maker, but they could be a solid organizer behind the scenes, you know? Yeah.
But I think that they're very stable. In a friendship, you're probably going to have someone with Taurus on the 11th house cusp as a friend for life if they make friends with you, because Taurus is such a stable sign. But now at the same time, in groups, they may not be flexible. It's like, this is a fixed sign. So where you've got that stability, at the same time, you've got a little bit of stubbornness that might come with it. So the group might want to do one thing and they may not want to do it. They're going to be stubborn about it.
I love how you said that. Okay. So it's also kind of like this, Connie Jo, you sparked my imagination here. I think that this person can be so loyal to you, but they might not like it when you step out into the big group. So let's say you have a wedding party, a bridal party, and they are one of 6 bridesmaids.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
No.
They're
they
not,
like to be up front. Yeah.
In your heart, like up front in your heart. You know, it's like, you're my friend. Why do I have to go do all this protocol with all these other randos?
It's possessiveness. They get a little possessive of their friends. Yeah.
A little.
Okay. I'm being very nice. I have Libra on the 11th. So yeah.
Okay, so if you guys have Taurus on the 11th, I want to know, are you possessive about your friendships? Like, do you hold on tight? And also, are you disappointed in your friends for being too flighty and not being as loyal as you are and not as loyal to the cause? And okay, we're ready for Gemini.
Well, I think Gemini is on not only on the cusp of technology, but they're on the cusp of social media. I mean, everything new that comes out, I think Gemini wants to be there for it, and they're good at it. It's ruled by Mercury, and their thinking processes are forward thinking in this house. So they communicate well. I think they make friends easily. I think the problem with the friend making with the Geminis is they make so many friends that they find that it's hard to be super close with one friend, or because they make a lot of them quickly. And you know what? A Gemini on the 11th cusp wants to know everything about you. They genuinely want to know more. It's that Mercury curiosity. You know, they want to know more about you. They want to know more about the group. They don't have to lead the group, but they might be the brainstormer for the group, the one that comes up with these phenomenal ideas, no matter what your group might be. It might be a computer group, a technology group, whatever, but they lead the way a lot when it comes to technology and innovation, I think.
I love that. And I also think that they can sometimes lack a little bit of a follow through for the organizations and the groups, or they outgrow their mission very quickly, or they lose interest in it. You know, so they might sign up for the PTA, and then there they are at the PTA bake sale, and they're like, why did I put this on my plate? I want to do something different. And so there's a lot of change with this, placement. I think this is the smart friend of the group, and they like smart conversations and they like smart friends. So they might join intellectual or a writing club or a book club, or this is the higher mind. And with Mercury as the ruler, these people really want to learn new things. Okay, let me differentiate this from the 9th house, because the 9th house is the PhD, the master's degree, the theology, all the ologies. With Gemini here, this person wants to learn new information. So they take the workshop on how do you become a YouTuber? They take a workshop on how do I build my own website? They want new knowledge. So they might even be part of the alien group or the astrology club.
Oh, yeah. I think that the twins, Gemini, they're curious about everything. They want to know a little bit about everything. They are the multitaskers. They are the ones, that can get bored easily. And I don't think their friendships are surface friendships, Meredith. I just think it's that they want to know everybody. So that can get a little bit difficult. It gets hard to get really close to one person when you want to know the whole group.
Yes. And they are probably the social networker and maybe the love boat camp director, where they get the group together. I also think this is your Scrabble buddy or your chess buddy, somebody who's going to stay up with you and play Yahtzee or Scrabble or, Words with Friends or your Wordle. That's what I meant. Wordle.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And those are usually Leo risings. And let's say this. Okay, this is a little secret tip and trick. So I hope everybody's still listening. In order to understand the houses, you need to also understand, this is a big secret, you need to understand the relationship that house has to the ascendant. And so this is a sextile. This is a sextile house. The 11th house is in sextile to the ascendant. So if you have Gemini on the 11th house, you probably are a Leo rising, and those go together. That's why this house brings up so much harmony, because it's supportive of your ascendant. It's supportive of who you want to be perceived as in the world. And remember, this is sort of your fan club. So your fan club is your fan club. They like who you are in the world. They like your ascendant. If you are a Gemini 11th houser, the Leo rising person probably likes their Gemini friends. They're refreshing.
Oh, that is so interesting. But when I was looking at some of the 11th house subjects, the ancients love the 11th house because of what you just said, because it makes the sextile, you can see the 11th house from the ascendant. And that was so important to ancient astrology. And I know we're not talking about ancient astrology, but it's still the same concept.
Well, I think modern astrologers build upon the ancient studies. We just tweak it to be relevant in today's time. Cancer on the 11th house. Interesting, right? Because that's Virgo rising. And I think that, again, they're very protective of their groups of friends. We kind of did this a little bit when Taurus was on the 11th and you were Cancer rising, but I think they are super, super selective and sensitive to who they want to be around. This is Virgo rising. And so I think that there is a little bit of a pickiness, if you will. And I also think that when you have Cancer on the 11th house, your friends become your family. It's like they become even maybe more important than your own blood relatives. And they might even like younger friends because I think they kind of become the mother of the group. I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but they become a mentor where they nurture their friendships with taking care of. I also think that they advance society and join social groups around healthcare, literally taking care of, like the dog rescue or foster family, cultivating and nurturing those in need in social causes and helping women and children. This might be also, I think, a very feminist. This could be somebody who is, for women's rights or
right.
Yeah.
Because it's ruled by the moon. So femininity is a big deal with Cancer on the 11th house cusp. But I think, Meredith, because it is ruled by the moon, we've got to think about the moon cycles. I kind of think Cancer on the 11th could be a bit moody according to which sign the moon is in at the time. So their moods could be a little bit changeable. Now, this could be a good thing. Their ideas could change with the moon as well.
I do think you're right. And they can also attract like really high drama friends, just friends that are in chronic need.
Or
and
needy.
Needy, clingy, glommy, you're fixing them. So if you do have Cancer in the 11th house, I want to know, are you attracted to fixer-upper friends? They're cautious around who they let into their hearts because I think their love is very unconditional for those, especially who are in need. Somebody who's broken or suicidal or needs a home or shelter, they'll literally take them in and it will just suck the whole life force out of them.
I agree.
They also can be the needy friend. It can go both ways. And I think Connie Jo made a great point. Like, where is your moon? Is your moon in happy aspect to this 11th house, or does it struggle with the 11th house? And so if you do struggle with attracting really good friends and your moon is in a difficult placement to the 11th house, so square or opposition, you might need to take more care, right, in who you choose to give your heart to. Yeah. Oh, I also wanted to say, I think there could be social causes. They could join organizations or group or social causes like shelter or homelessness.
I think so too.
Like abused women that need a safe place, I think they could really help advance society through being a safe place.
I agree.
Do you want to take on Leo?
Absolutely. Leo is ruled by the sun. So it's like sunshine in the 11th house, especially if you have good aspects from your sun to the 11th. And I think Leo here, this person is loyal. They're a good leader. They like the limelight. They're not afraid of the spotlight or to be the person in charge, the head honcho. They don't mind. But a Leo is very loyal to their friends. They take their friendships seriously. And you know what? Leo likes to make people happy. So they like to see, I think a Leo friend will bring gifts. They will throw parties. They like to be happy, so they want everybody else around them to be happy. And they're going to champion causes that bring that loyalty and leadership to a head where they can operate in the best way possible.
I think they are sort of a born leader. And I think this is one of the most generous placements because it's Libra rising too, right? And so their sun, with Leo as the ruler, their sun, their identity is sitting in this house, basically. So, and so I think they like to set up their life where they join groups and organizations where they can be a little bit admired, a little bit praised. I think they also kind of chase accolades. Okay, just to tell on my husband just a little bit. He has Leo in the 11th and he is a national recreational USTA tennis champion. He's amazing. Like nobody can beat him. So we went and played pickleball with our friends, and he's joined this little pickleball pickup group organization. He loves groups of friends and everything. Well, nobody wants to play with him because he's so damn good. And he can't wait to play with them. And they don't want to play with him because he's too damn good. He has Leo on the 11th, right? It's funny. They show up for what they're good at, and they're not very good at, because they're Libra rising too. They're not very good at playing when they're like the underdog or when they're the low man on the totem pole. They want to play to win.
And they want to be the leader. They want to play to win. It's different than Aries, where Aries is kind of the lone warrior. They want to have a pack behind them, but they just kind of want to be the top of the pack.
Connie, that's so true. Yeah, they want the little followers. I know.
Yes.
I mean, they're never going to admit this, but it is kind of true when you observe it. And they kind of want the little but they make amazing mentors. So if you can just sort of deal with they're generous with their energy, with their coaching, their teaching, they'll show you how to get better. But it is kind of funny. I also want to say one other thing that I don't know if it's completely true. So if you have Leo in this placement, please leave us a comment and let us know what you think about this. Not every single sign and every single chart really cares about advancing society or advancing humanity. You know, not everybody wants to pick up trash on the highway and make the highway beautiful, right? And I think when you have Leo here, I do think they are very interested in advancing their own lives and their own self-expression and who they are, and becoming the best person they can become in the world is sometimes the goal here. What do you think of that?
I think they want to, you're right, their own causes, their own charities. You know, the 11th house is so philanthropic, but they will advance the charity. That's for sure. But it's probably going to be something that they have a vested interest in.
Exactly. Or it's their son's hockey team, or it's their tennis team, or I just think that that's kind of interesting. They also are very entertaining. They're the entertaining friend. They usually are just so beautiful. They're Libra rising usually, and magnanimous and inspiring and empowering. They like other people. They kind of can be the entertainer of the group, like the actor, the dancer, the singer, the funny guy. They bring the group together. They make the group shine. They hold the barbecue. You know, they're fun. They're playful, and even a little bit childlike. Like there's a little fun immaturity here, you know?
It's like, as long as the limelight is on them. But don't get me wrong, I am so not putting down this placement. Both my children are Libra risings. They do like to be in the limelight. But they're so loyal.
Well, and I also think that if you're a step parent, these people love kids. They're either going to have a lot of kids or step kids, or they're going to be kid-like, and they might find that their stepchildren. So if you have this placement and you have stepchildren, tell me if you agree with this, are a tiny bit spoiled, a tiny bit self-centered, don't really want to share. Maybe their stepchildren are really creative, or because this is about your stepchildren and how you perceive them, and maybe a little hard to dominate. Maybe the stepchildren need to be the center, you know. And I also think this is sports. The 5th house is sports, the 9th house is sports, and the 11th house can be sports too if you have.
Because it's groups. I mean, and sometimes your groups, it's a team, and a Leo, especially on the 11th house, kind of would be a good life coach. Now that would be a good occupation for an 11th house if you had a lot of planets there. For one, just to not just coach a team, but to be a life coach. You know, how do you fulfill your ambitions and dreams? That's a little subject.
And if you guys want to know your chart rulers, I have a report called Your Unique Chart Rulers, and you can just buy that as a one-off. It is so good to know how to work with the rulers of each of your houses. You can also get your starter package. If you're just learning and you want to know, like, where do I start? How do I find all this out? You can just go over to my shop, just click in the notes below, and you can find my starter package, and it will go into the details of what is going on with your 11th house. Okay, let's talk about Virgo. And then we're going to give a couple planetary examples. I want to know if you guys are loving this series and if you want us to continue going around the houses. Okay, Virgo.
Okay, Virgo again, ruled by Mercury, but it's so different because this is the worker bee. This is the one, if they are in any kind of organization, you may find them behind the scenes, unlike the Leo, but they're going to be working their butt off. And they're the ones that are going to come in and set organization in place. They're the ones that can organize everything. But as a friend, I think this is kind of funny. They may try to organize you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that a Virgo on the 11th cusp is a great placement, but as a friend, because Virgo is Virgo, they want perfection in things and even in their friendships. So if a Virgo is a little nitpicky with you, it's not because they're being critical. It's because they love you. It really is. It's because they consider you a good friend or they wouldn't bother.
I also think these people are super smart. Like this is almost a genius placement. They're Scorpio rising. So they're very, 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 I think, hard to get to know truthfully. You know, there's a lack of vulnerability and they might feel a little cool and aloof and detached. And then they're baffled on why everybody thinks they're so hard to get to know. You know, they're big softies on the inside, but you have to penetrate a Scorpio. You have to run a Scorpio Virgo obstacle course to get in. Not a lot of people are like signing up for that, right? Not
exactly.
Hey, let me run the Scorpio Virgo obstacle course. Yeah. And get,
But they are a friend that would do anything for you. They're the friend that you can count on almost no matter what. They'll be there for you. They'll stand up for you. But it's very different than the way a Taurus might bond you out of jail or an Aries might be there to stand up for the underdog. It's a different kind of energy. It's a very caring, sweet energy, I think.
Yes. And it's like they will fall on their own sword for you if they love you. They want to be of great value and use to your life, but there is a little bit of a possessiveness because they are not going to waste their time and energy on just anybody. And I think these people have maybe fewer friendships that are deeper. There's usually a desire for like great value of a give and take. They're not going to invest in people also that won't invest in them. I think this is like a mutual reciprocal desire.
Well, and if you indeed have Scorpio rising, that makes a ton of sense because the Scorpio rising isn't going to make that investment. So it kind of goes together.
And I do think though that this is one of the very best friends you could have in the whole entire zodiac, because these are the people that when you're sick or you're in need, or I don't know, you're throwing some sort of event or workshop or party or whatever, these people will literally come to help you set up, run it from the background and tear it down. Like they'll be there from start to stop. I find there are very few people I can count on from start to finish.
And I think they're the ones that will run the whole show that way. If let's say it's some kind of organization they're working for, I mean, Meredith, they'll do a majority of the work, but they won't ask for credit for it because that's not their gig. Their gig really is to be of service.
And the connection to you. Yeah. I think they give in sweat equity. These people. Okay, let's talk about, Libra in the 11th house has Sagittarius rising. And so I think this is like a diplomatic and social nature here. I think this is a great place for Libra. I think this is going to be a very interesting placement inside friendships because this person is going to be the bridge to opposing friendships. They are going to find themselves literally as the bridge between people who either don't get along or who are totally different, because diplomacy is going to be a requirement for these people to create harmony inside their friendships. They're the peacemaker.
Very well said. Diplomatic is the word. Peace is the word of the day. Harmony. And they'll go to most lengths to keep everybody. It's not that they're such a people pleaser, but they want everybody to be happy because if everybody's happy, then there's harmony. Then the group can work together. Then the friends can work together. And so they will be very hospitable and charming. But at the end of the day, I think it's like they mostly want world peace. You know what I mean, Meredith?
Absolutely. And I think these people are phenomenal communicators. I think they are phenomenal at teamwork. I think they are a great bridge for new ideas. I think they're going to rebel in sort of a little bit of a passive way. I know they're Sag rising, but they're still going to be innovative and create breakthroughs in a way that doesn't disrupt the whole entire group. They're going to initiate change in a way that feels good and empowering and inspiring and beautiful to all people involved.
Yes, because that is the best way not to invoke any kind of conflict.
I think these people are so good at standing in another person's shoes and seeing from another person's perspective that this is just, I think this is a really beautiful Venetian friendship.
I can just say that I think that this placement doesn't like to see anyone's feelings hurt and will go to great lengths to make people feel wanted or to feel good. And I also think this placement needs to actually be friends with their partner. And I can't say that about every 11th house placement, but I think this placement in particular, Libra there, they really need to be friends with their partner because that's part of their social group for them. Because Libra is so closely relates things to their partner.
I also think, Connie Jo, I love that. And I also think that this is sort of a desire for social justice, like on a big scale. They absolutely can't stand sections of society that have been marginalized. This is sort of a great Supreme Court justice position, because we've got truth seeker rising, Sagittarius rising, and then the scales of justice in the house of
absolutely
friendships, workshops, organizations, conferences, and like-minded the soul tribe. They are going to have a very hard time being friends with people that are just rude and crass and want to openly marginalize big pockets of society. They're going to really struggle with this. And I don't think they'll necessarily say it to their face, but they will just literally disappear and go away.
You're right. I think that's exactly what they do. They don't have a need to actually come back at someone when they feel that they're acting in a way that's inappropriate to other people, but they'll just kind of wave goodbye and leave.
We're almost done. And if you guys want to get a reading with Connie Jo, you can just click on my website, soulnavigation.com, and you can book your reading with Connie Jo. She's phenomenal. You can also book a reading with me and also Stacy. We would absolutely love to do a reading for you if you want to know more about your chart. So when you have Scorpio on your 11th house cusp, you have both Mars and Pluto ruling this 11th house. You have Pluto as the modern ruler and Mars as the traditional ruler. Those are considered malefic planets. And I would say that you honestly might have struggled with feeling like you fit in or knowing immediately which group you want to attach to. And you might just prefer alone time, to be honest. There's a very fixed concept around how you want to spend your energy with other people and who you want to invest in. And you are just probably the most selective, even more so than Virgo. I would say you're probably the most selective around who you're going to attach to, what social causes you're going to attach to, what kinds of friends you're going to let into your life. You are the transformer. So when you do enter a group, you will transform it. You will change that group's identity, that group's mission, that group's cause forever. And not everybody likes that. So like we just talked about Libra being on the 11th house cusp. Well, with Scorpio here, you're a little bit of a disruptor, to be honest. Yeah, right.
Can you say secret societies? That's what I think of. That's just what I think of when I think of Scorpio there, because it's like they can be so secretive. And I think secret societies, secret social groups, secret friends, secrets, great detective. If you have planets here, Pluto or Mars, you would make a great detective also if you have Scorpio on this cusp. And also, Meredith, I think these people can be attracted to power. And
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we could even talk about, they might even have sort of an underground or, a secret society money laundering business, or they might run the Italian mafia on Old Mulberry Street in New York City and nobody knew. So there can be a duality here where they have a secret society, secret life, right?
Yeah.
And then they run sort of a regular game, a very regular job, a regular life, Capricorn rising, but then underneath they've got some sort of hidden world. They run a prostitution ring underneath.
Yeah. But don't you think they could be, we were talking about possessiveness. I would think when they do make friends and they're very selective, as you said, that they're probably pretty possessive of the friendships they do make.
Absolutely. I think they hold on tight to their friends, to their vision for their future self. They want what they want. They can be extraordinarily fixated on goals, and there can be so much ambition. And I think they have friends in powerful positions that can open and close doors.
And that makes so much sense because their rising sign is the sign of ambition. And then, it kind of goes along with this house. I think there's a lot to be said if they are the leader of a cause or a group that maybe isn't so secretive, because they're going to take you where you want to go. I mean, if they're going to execute the plan.
I also think they're going to create change by sort of in the group or in the social cause, in the conference, by sort of ferreting out the problem, what's not working, what the actual truth of the real problem is. So let's just say you're on city council and everybody is saying that the problem is A, B, and C. This is the person that's going to say that's actually not the problem. That is Scorpio in the 11th. They're going to tell you the truth about what the real source of the problem that is hidden that nobody wants to talk about. And so that's how they are a change maker. They ruffle feathers and they don't give two flying squirrels if it upsets you.
I was just thinking, this is the friend, Meredith, think about it, that will say, where do you want the body? I mean, they'll kill for you. It's like, you know what I mean?
Right. It's so funny. Okay, let's talk about Sag in the 11th before we get the channel banned, talking about all the things that Scorpio in the 11th is capable of. And if you guys can relate, leave us a comment. We want to know what you think.
I love Sag there because a Sag on the 11th will make friends with everybody from every culture, every religion, everything. They want to know everybody different. They want to hear your different languages. They will champion any cause that has to do with culture or philosophy. They just want to do it all, I think. And they're really good at it. It's nice. They'll make lots of friends. I mean, you're going to have a friend that is the governor of the state, and then they'll have friends in the restaurant across the street that they go out and party with after work. It's amazing to me the diversity of someone that has Sag ruled by Jupiter on the 11th.
I love that, Connie. That is just so accurate. I also love this person because they just don't get their feelings hurt and they are easy friends. But I think they hurt people's feelings because they're so busy and can you say busy? I mean, Sagittarius in the 11th, these people are so busy. They are optimistic, idealistic change makers. They're innovative and they actually truly for real believe in the impossible. So they're out there doing that and you want more of them and they just don't have enough to go all the way around.
Agree, because they are so open-minded that if you feed them any idea, think about this. This is Sag and Jupiter coming into the house of Uranus. I mean, this just blows up. And so you say anything to them, they're so open-minded, they're going to take it into consideration and then they'll put it on their agenda.
Absolutely. And it is, if you think about how big this is so expansive. I also think they're a little bit unfiltered. So they just say what they think and what they think is a little out there, wonky and weird. They also promote open-mindedness and diversity. I want to know, is this you? Leave us a comment and let us know, like, how do you relate to this? And what does your life look like? It's got to be so fun. I do think these people truly and genuine. See, the Sagittarius is the truth crusader. And then the Aquarius rising is the person who really wants to advance society. So these are like futuristic, forward thinking, forward acting people. One of the things that I think is kind of hard is they don't cherish the past as much as, the new friend, the new opportunity, the new adventure, the new workshop. So you can kind of sometimes feel left behind, but they don't mean it that way. They can also just pick up right where you guys left off. And it's like no time ever went by.
Yeah. I don't think they're big on tradition. Not usually. But I think they're open-mindedness. If you can bring tradition and make it look new again, they would do it.
Right. Make it look new again. We're going to have a new take on turkey this Thanksgiving. We're going to do vegan turkey.
See the reaction of my family.
Capricorn in the 11th.
I think these friendships that a Capricorn 11th house may form, first of all, because Saturn, it's ruled by Saturn, the planet of karma. So they could be a bit karmic. This can also be a place where your friendships last a lifetime, because they're the builder. Capricorn is the builder of the earth signs. So when they take the time to actually build a friendship, and I think it's not always easy for a Capricorn on this house cusp, but when they take the time to do it, they're going to cherish it. They will nourish it. I know that doesn't sound very Saturn-like. Saturn's very responsible, and it's also father time. So these can be long-lasting friendships, associations that they make. And also, if they are part of a group that they really believe in, they're the ones that will march you up the hill and do the hard work, but they'll want you to help them. They'll delegate. It's a little different than Virgo doing the work behind the scenes. A Capricorn is going to delegate and say, okay, let's all do this together so we can get to where we're going, so we can get the prize, because Capricorn does want the prize.
I love that. And I also think with Pisces rising here, these people can put the dream, whatever it is, the dream is of the group, of society, of whatever they believe in, of you just as a friend they'll help you put it into concrete reality. Sometimes they end up sort of bossing you in a way because they kind of want to be the CEO, the administrator. They kind of want to run it. They have a lot of capability. Even though they're Pisces rising, they are not used to asking for help from their friends. They are used to being the helpful one, the leader, the CEO, the administrator, the guide, the one that you said that's leading the charge for the friendship. So they're hard workers inside their friendships. I think they also will literally be taken advantage of for that reason. They will be enlisted into your life for them to help lead you, guide you.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know.
So sad, because I know they want respect.
Absolutely. So I have 3 really, really, really close people to me that I know so well that have this placement: Capricorn in the 11th, Pisces rising. Yeah. Every single one of them is enlisted in other people's lives to advance that friend's life. And they are respected. They are so highly capable, but they never ask for it in return. Yeah. This is one of the giving placements where I think, because they're so capable, I don't want to say they get used, because they also like it. I think they are the ones that are more in service. With Pisces rising and Capricorn, they approach it very differently, but they just end up being overgivers, overdoers. They're overly ambitious, then they overdream, and then they're overly capable. They're so highly capable. This placement can literally be one of the greatest change makers in the world, because they come from altruism, where they actually believe that they can, save the extinct animal, change the world. And they can. And they are one of the most with that Pisces rising, they are so inspiring because they genuinely care so deeply. Then they're capable of execution of the task.
Yeah. And I think that's the main thing with them, that it is genuine. Everything that they do is genuine. There's not anything fake about Capricorn on that house, because they're not going to tell you I'm not ambitious. They're going to admit it. It's like they're going to be honest about that. But I agree with Meredith. They can be a hard taskmaster and sometimes be a little bossy, maybe, because they're kind of used to being the boss.
Okay, let's get through our last 2 signs, because I want to do some planetary placements. Aquarius on the 11th house. This is Aries rising. And so this is the natural zodiacal wheel.
Oh my gosh, this is the rebel with or without a cause. I mean, I think they want freedom more than anything else. If you are a friend that has Aquarius on this cusp, they want to be your friend, but they also want freedom. They are able to have friendships, associations, and oh my God, they are ungodly good at technology, but they want freedom as well. And they don't form unhealthy attachments to their friends or their organizations or their social groups. They're able to love you. It's a fixed sign. They're going to be there for you, but they don't have that unhealthy codependency that some of the other signs have on this cusp.
You might not experience the mushy-gushy, touchy-feely aspect to this if you are friends with this person, but you will know that they care about you by how they show up in your life. This house can also go sideways, though, because they can be so detached that you feel that they are a little bit disassociated and they're not totally present with you, but they're looking at life sometimes from this higher vantage point, like as if your relationship is they're a third person, in the relationship. So sometimes you can feel like, hello, are you there with me? I'll say these people are so open-minded. They have a genius to them. They are a passionate change maker. They're bold, they're gutsy, they're dynamic, they're accepting of others usually, but they're willing to embrace diversity and do whatever it takes to change the system. These are the bold change makers,
Agree.
They want to innovate. I don't think they're into tradition either. I think they're into new, like what's the new thing? And they're a little like out there, way out there. They're thinking of ideas that nobody's even had before.
Oh, yeah, because other people will catch up to them, I don't know, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But they already thought about it.
Yeah, they already did the thing.
Yeah, they already did it. Exactly.
And these are sort of the mavericks. I don't know about, the Titan submersible, but this placement reminds me, like the guy didn't want to go through all the checks and balances. He just wanted to go down to the Titanic and just wanted to do it his way and just had so much passion and just would die trying. This is the sign that will die trying. And they want to create societal, earthbound, even galaxy reform, get us to Mars, get us to the moon.
I agree. If any sign is able to be friends, contact people from other planets, it's probably Aquarius on this cusp.
Right. And I would say, like, don't burn out. Like your dreams might be so big and so out there that you actually burn out your own self with the Aries part of this, the Aries rising. Okay, let's segue into Pisces. Pisces on the 11th. This brings Taurus rising, usually.
Oh, Meredith, blind faith.
Yeah.
In their friendships, blind faith in their associations and the groups that they want to be a part of. They form that emotional bond and they will go into it with such love. And, it's ruled by Pisces is ruled by Neptune. There's no boundaries. So a lot of times this placement doesn't have boundaries with their friendships.
Right. I agree with that. And there is so much empathy with this placement.
Yes.
That they oftentimes will pay it forward through being your most compassionate, your most altruistic, your most empathetic friend. They also, I think this would rule something like organizations, groups, connections through the spiritual realm.
That's a good point. I think it would too. Usually I associate religious associations with the ninth house, but I think you're right about this. I would even put cults sometimes in the 11th house as well.
I also think they can be really duped. So on the darker side, they could join a group or an organization, Waco, Texas. They can get tricked or duped by a cult leader that they are so loyal to that they really believe in this spiritual goodness. Like if you could convince somebody to strap on a bomb and walk into a market, it's going to be this person. You are my God, Taurus rising. I am so loyal to you. I will ruin my own self for the greater goodness of the world. And I actually believe this. That's the dark side of this.
Yeah, it makes me think a little bit about Jim Jones when I think of 11th house placements that can go south a little bit. But Pisces is so loving, Meredith, and their love is so boundless that I can see how sometimes they could get caught up in something that's not necessarily good for anyone.
And if you do have Pisces in the 11th house, you're a very selfless friend. And so you have to protect that. Like Connie said, you have to really develop boundaries here. But I do think that they want to advance society through love, through a higher octave of love, a revival of species or a revival of plants, a revival of Mother Nature or of water. This could be the girl, I don't know who she is. I think she's in Australia and she wears a little pink bikini on a paddleboard and she's like cleaned up all of their oceans over there with plastic, reviving the ocean waters, saving the whales. I mean, this is like the bleeding heart.
It is.
I will say that if you have stepchildren here, you could have stepchildren that suffer from being too sensitive or too emotional or don't open up easily or very private or even suffer from addictions or having bad boundaries in some way. It can be really beautiful where they're just so loving and kind. It can go both ways with this one.
Agreed. And I was just thinking, Meredith, because usually this is Taurus, right? rising, it makes so much sense that saving nature or things relating to nature might be a big part of this person's mission in life, how they want to give back to the world.
Yeah. And Connie, if you think about the Taurus rising ruled by Venus and then Pisces on the 11th house, and I see Neptune as the higher octave of Venus. So like, divine love and then earthbound love. So love is the vehicle for this placement. And think about how often love has messed us up.
Exactly. You know? Oh, that was really good though. That gave me chills because when that placement goes right, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing better. And I hate to be the Mercury and Scorpio person, but when it goes wrong, it's so heartbreaking. But when it goes right, there literally isn't anything better. It's literally, I see it like how a dog loves you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Or how we love our pets too. Most people, exactly. But yeah, it's very loyal. And man, I can't say anything better than that, than how a dog loves you, because that was just great.
Let's talk about a couple ideas. So I want people to think about this important little thing, this little tidbit that we're going to give you that's kind of like a trick that I want you to think about. My last video that I did where I talked about trines and conjunctions, I think. We talked about the malefic planets and we talked about the benefic planets. So watch that video if you haven't already seen it so you can learn a lot, because not all conjunctions are great, because we have benefic planets and malefic planets. So when you have a malefic planet transiting your 11th house, it can really create deep suffering around your social status, around your fan base, around your social online presence, around your friendships, around whatever organization you're in. You could get kicked out of your organization if you have Pluto, Mars there, or Uranus, but there could be really serious changes. This might be a time when you change out your friend group. You're going to have the moon in there every single month. Every single month, the moon is going to transit your 11th house.
Well, when you have, just like Meredith said, when you have one of the malefics there, especially when Pluto is making that long transit of that 11th house, you're going to have a transformation in your friendships. Is Pluto doing that to be mean? No. Pluto is doing that so that eventually you will have the friend group and the friend base that is best for you. It's for your highest good. Does it feel good? Hell no. But it is for our highest good. So when Venus or Jupiter is transiting that house, really either one can bring good luck. Venus is money. Jupiter can bring money. We might make money through a social organization, through a friend group. We might have a friend give us money. We might just make a new friend, period.
Oh, I love that.
Also have our social, something in our life, Meredith, one of our dreams come true. I mean,
right.
It's the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams.
I love that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I got excited. I wanted to say that a lot of people think that this is a house like that is so altruistic and altruism and not to look at the money in this house. But this house can have giant financial gains. And this is more of a modern evolutionary thought, but I wanted to say that this is a house that you follow your dream, you follow your wish, you follow your hope. What was that book? Like follow your parachute or follow.
Oh, what color is your parachute?
Yes. What color is your parachute? Do the thing you love and the money will follow. Basically, that's this house. And so you can, when you have a Venus transit to this house, you better be doing your wish, your dream, your hope, not just your Virgo 6th house of the chores in your life.
Absolutely. Because even ancient astrology or Vedic astrology looks at this house as the house of gains. So we would be way off not to bring that part in it. I mean, because not everybody worships money, idolizes money. I dare say everybody needs money to live.
Absolutely. And if you do your 11th house right, it can bring you more prosperity than your 10th house.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Because what we do in the 10th house is going to help bring those gains in the 11th house.
Absolutely. And so if you have, say, let's just say you have Uranus transiting by transit, you have Uranus in the 11th house. This is a time for you to do something different. This is a time for you to innovate your life. This is a time when you are going to have massive breakthroughs around the groups you're involved with, maybe even the church you go to. Let's just say, for example, you've been going to this Christian Scientology, this Scientology church your whole life. It's what you learned. It's what you taught. And you have a Uranus transit to the 11th. This might be when you literally leave that community where you're like, oh my God, I got to get out. And your whole life has changed. So a malefic planet, which Uranus is considered a malefic planet, is not always a bad thing. So don't fear it. It's a breakthrough.
You are so right, because what we call the malefics, especially the outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, and it's hard to say this to someone that is suffering or really hurting through a transit like this, but at the end of the day, it's somehow, whether we see it in this lifetime or not, for our highest good.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel like that in the time. And so you kind of have to have faith at this time. So I just had Mars for 6 months, malefic Mars, opposing my sun, transit my 11th house of friendships. My friend group really, that was so hard. It was so painful. It hurt so bad in some ways, but I just trusted and have to trust. And now that Mars is out of the 11th, I can see the blessings that came from losing some of those people in my life. But at the time, oh God, it was like pressed up against my face, Connie Jo, and I could not see the blessing at all. So it takes time. So we do want to encourage you to have faith that it's happening the way it's supposed to happen. Also, Connie, this house is a little bit less about free will and a little bit more about fate. It's a little bit more about fate.
I think you're right, because no matter what we do in the 10th house and bring it to the 11th house, some things are just meant to be. They really are. We have a certain amount of control, I know, over the friends we choose and the associations and societies that we join, but there's a little bit of luck to this house.
Yeah.
Comes in. Yeah. It's hard to believe it's not ruled by Jupiter sometimes, but it's not.
Well, in traditional astrology, they gave this house to Jupiter, but we don't, that's before they also gave it to Saturn, I know, but in some traditional astrology, Jupiter was the Lord or ruled over this house in some way. I don't know. I don't study traditional astrology. Yeah. But there is a Jupiter aspect to this house in traditional astrology. So you're not wrong. I also think this house is way bigger than the self. Yeah. In the 10th house, it's our own, the effort that we put in, it's our societal standing that we created. How hard did Beethoven practice in order to create all of his music? But in the 11th house, we don't control our friends. We don't control our politics. There's a lot of politics in the 11th house because it is the revolution in us, right? That's bigger than us. We all have to go to the voting machine to vote to create our politics. So there's the collective here. And I think a lot of it is outside of our control.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. I think so too.
You can pick your friend, but you can't really control your friend.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And you can pick, I want to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all on social media, but you don't control what happens with that social media. Exactly. You can only control what you do with it.
And isn't it funny? There's a fate inside of the most ridiculous, stupid ass video goes viral, and the greatest video that deserves to go viral never does. It's that's the 11th house.
It is. Yeah.
So let's talk about some rulers. Let's just give an example and then we'll let it go. But I wanted to give an example of how, let's say you have the ruler. It's really important to know what house the ruler of the sign is. On the 11th house. So I just wanted to give the example of Mercury as the ruler of the 11th house. So if you have Gemini or Virgo on the 11th house cusp, Mercury is your ruler. So you got to go look in the chart and see what house the ruler is in and what aspects Mercury is making to your ascendant and to the other planets. So if I just wanted to give a real simple example. So if you have Mercury in the 4th house, let's don't even talk aspects. Something about your family becoming friends or you becoming friends with your family, and maybe your parents or your mom is your best friend. That's an example of how, you love talking to your mom. You tell your mom your secrets, or you share everything with your mama. Somehow talking to your mom or communicating to your mom becomes really, really important if you have a Mercury ruler in the 4th.
I just wonder, do you think if Mercury were in the 5th that you would be really good friends maybe with your children?
Absolutely. I love that. And you would be you could meet your children in your children's world. You could be childlike with them.
Yeah.
You could be the teenage mom.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, say you have Taurus or Libra on the 11th house and ruled by Venus. Well, let's say your Venus is in the second house. You might meet someone through career decisions or through a cooking school or something very second house. It might be how you form the groups that you want to join and also your friendships.
Absolutely. I love that. I also think if you have, let's say the ruler is Jupiter. So you have Pisces or Sagittarius there. So you go look at Jupiter and you have Jupiter in the ninth or you have Jupiter in the third. You would probably be a
school
great
friends. I said school friends or
school
like
friends,
college
right.
or school friends.
Yeah, at school, totally. Or sorority sisters, or in a fraternity of some sort, or at church in a church community, or Bible school or Sunday school, or you would be a great orator. You could meet at Toastmasters where you communicate.
That's good.
Yeah, where there's higher learning. Also, you could meet them traveling abroad, foreign friends.
Yeah.
So if Jupiter is the ruler and you've got Jupiter in the ninth or Jupiter in the seventh, your friends might be foreigners. So you guys are going to have to tell us, what do you have in the 11th and how has it played out in your life? And let us know. Did you guys like this video? Connie, did you want to say anything else while we sign off?
I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for listening. And I hope we can come back with the 10th house and give you some great information about the 10th house and also about the planets in the 11th. If you'd like to hear about it, like Mary said, leave us a comment.
Absolutely. And we're going to sign off now and we will see you guys again soon. And goodbye from Florida and Seattle.